Get right into it. I'd like to welcome Justin Thomas to the Media Center, FedEx St. Jude Championship. Justin, you're entering the week at number 8. You've had an incredible season. Can you just give us some thoughts on the season so far?
Yeah, I can't believe how fast it's gone, as always. We're already here in the playoffs and 3 weeks left, and it's another season down. But I feel that I've played a lot better than my results have shown. I mean, I feel like I've done a lot of great things this year and done a lot of things for it to be a great season. Obviously, winning a major bumps it up quite a bit, but I definitely feel like I have a great opportunity these last 3 weeks to turn it into a great season.
TPC Southwind is a course that you have won on. Obviously, it was a different tournament now, but give us some thoughts on the golf course and how it plays to your game.
Yeah, I like this course. It's very similar to East Lake to me, where it's very right in front of you. It's super old school. You just got to put the ball in the fairway, and then if you do, you have some scoreable clubs into some greens to where you can take advantage and make a lot of birdies. And I mean, these greens are about as good as you can putt on. I mean, perfect Bermuda greens, and it's just a fun place to play. As long as you can, kind of tame the heat a little bit and keep it in the fairway, it should be a good week.
Great. We'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Open it up for us.
Sweet.
Jason Sobel.
Oh.
Justin, how much were you following the hearing yesterday? How closely were you following it? And what are your thoughts afterwards?
I wasn't following it that close. Not only being a golfer, but being a college dropout of 2 years, my knowledge and when it comes to stuff about legality is pretty low. So I figured I could probably just check Twitter later in the day and I could figure it out, or someone can give me a good synopsis. So
there are a lot of lawyers on Twitter, by the way.
I'll tell you what, there sure are. There's a lot of opinions on Twitter, but yeah, and I also was kind of going about my day. I mean, I was checking updates here and there, but it was just something to where, again, I had zero impact. I couldn't control an outcome. I wasn't really worried about it. I had pretty good faith that when it gets to a level like that and you have lawyers and judges and everything involved, that a decision is going to be made that's appropriate, as opposed to maybe one that's getting pushed one way or the other. So, I knew that however it was meant to be, it was going to work out.
And your thoughts on the ruling itself?
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't super one way or the other. I just was worried about myself. I mean, obviously as a player on the PGA Tour and the ruling going in favor of the PGA Tour, I'm in favor of that. And but again, it's I let them deal with that, and I just try to worry about playing golf.
Fergie?
Just from a general sense, do you find this has been a distraction to you?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's unfortunately just taken over the golf world a little bit and taking away from great storylines. I mean, I think I saw Scotty came in and did his interview yesterday, and I'm sure he got asked about what was going on, and he's had one of the best seasons of all time. I mean, the most money that's ever been earned, and winning the FedEx Cup by a mile, and I'm sure that there weren't that as many questions about that as there should have been. And it's little things like that to where it takes away from the big picture of what's going on the PGA Tour. Obviously, in the game of golf as a whole, that is going on, but where I am at this moment, the only thing I really care about is this golf tournament and trying to play well and trying to win the FedEx Cup. And to be honest, I just don't care about all that stuff that's going on. However it's going to happen is going to happen, and I may have an opinion here or there, but at the end of the day, like I said earlier, once it gets to this point, it's way out of my hands in terms of getting to lawyers and judges and things of that nature. So I just want to play golf and stop worrying about it.
Two things before we let you go play golf again then. And generally the people asking the questions are the ones who are quote-unquote bringing it up. But I'm wondering how much either A, you find your guys talking about it too, or B, when you run across random people, friends, whatever, that aren't in the media, that it's like topic du jour.
Yeah.
That's French, by the way.
Yeah. Again, didn't know that. It sounded like it. Yeah, and I definitely don't mean it in the sense of it's not like, oh, I come into a press conference and the media are the only people I get asked about. I mean, you go stand on the putting green and people are talking about it, whether it's caddies, players, like it just, you can't avoid it. I mean, a funny story is just a couple weeks ago, I had, some really close friends get married, and I was at the wedding and at the reception, and I was on the way to the bathroom and got stopped by someone, started talking to me, say he was a fan, it was great, and then bam, next thing you know, starts asking me questions about that, and my detour, instead of going to the restroom, went straight to the bar to get a drink because I'm like, I am not in the mood for this right now. So it's just little stuff like that, where you just would prefer not talk about it.
And then lastly, at what point do you feel like this all became personal? I know the lawsuit was filed last week, but personally, I had a sense that it was kind of building toward that pre-lawsuit.
I mean, it was personal to me from the beginning, but I would say it's just getting more and more in depth. It's kind of like I said from the start. It's those guys were given an opportunity to go play, and just go play. You can have your cake, but you don't need to eat it too. And they got their fair share of a large amount of cake, and go eat it on your own means. You don't need to bring it onto our tour. And I think we keep it how it is, and we can continue to build an unbelievable product that's given a lot of us, like myself, a great platform to just keep improving it.
All right, we'll go back here in the blue and then to Shane Ryan.
Yeah, Justin, on a lighter note, the ProAm today, is that something that you enjoy at tournaments like this? And is that just kind of a nice way to get you settled in for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, it's I've met some very unique people, some really cool people. I mean, a lot of people in here know I played with Joe Ogilvy today, which I was not expecting. When I said hey to him, I thought he looked familiar, and I look at the scorecard and it said Joe Ogilvy, and I was like, I know, like, I've watched him before, and talking to him, he played on tour for 15 years. He's played this tournament a bunch, and obviously he's in the area. And, the guy Bill I played with today, he's chairman for AutoZone. I think my dad said he talked to him. He has 110,000 employees or 105,000 employees. So it's like little things like that to where, to him that probably doesn't seem like a big deal, but he probably thinks what I do is a big deal, and I think what he's doing is a huge deal, and I don't think, you know what I'm saying? So it's all in perspective, and you meet some very unique people that do some really cool things, and then again, it is also a chance for me to see the back nine today for the first time, and it still is a practice round.
Shane Ryan.
Back to the not fun questions. You talked about players having their cake and eating it too. Cam Smith was in here yesterday. Mm-hmm. People are reporting that he's going to live. It's not official, I guess, but it very much seems like he's going. He's also sticking around to play the playoffs before maybe he does that. And I was just curious if you have thoughts on that, if the players are having thoughts on that, because it does seem like a grabbing both pies type situation.
If that were to happen, it would definitely appear that way. I mean, it's nothing hidden. I don't think it takes anybody on one side or the other, pro or against it, that would be the case if that happens. But at this point, I guess nothing's, at least what I've learned, is nothing is official until it's official. You hear so many names, so many rumors, so many things thrown out, and that's probably what's been the most annoying part to me, is just whether it's talking to the players themselves, hearing it from agents, hearing it from, again, all the people on Twitter that seem to know everything about everything. But until something is official, I'm just kind of waiting, if that makes sense.
Back to Jason.
Justin, you had a little back injury earlier in the summer. I know you haven't had the results since then that you've liked. Is that still bothering you at all? And if so, how much? No, it isn't at all. And the Travelers, it was a tournament to where if it was a different maybe time in the schedule, or if it wasn't going before a huge stretch. I mean, it was one I would have played through some pain 100%, but it was going to do nothing positive for me. And I've never been in a position where I've had to do something like that. I mean, I had my wrist injury a couple years ago, but
I kind of knew going into those events after it happened that it wasn't, looking likely I was going to play. But, man, I just see so many people that push through things. And, I mean, I would like to think that I'm a pretty mentally tough person, and I can kind of maybe at times be a little even hard on myself in terms of just like you need to kind of get over it, you need to grow up. But it's just like an injury is an injury. You have to listen to your body. And it's like if it was going to hinder how I felt in the playoffs or even the Open Championship, it 100% was not worth me risking that. So it was totally fine. I mean, the Open, it was fine. It was obviously I was tight just from flying over there, but the warm weather and getting a lot of treatment after when I got home from the Travelers, I mean, I did for a week straight, once, twice a day. And so in an extremely long answer, yes, it feels a lot better. Sorry about that.
All right. Any final questions? Sean Martin.
Did you see the stamping on Tom Kim's wedges?
I did, yeah.
What was your reaction?
I don't know. I mean, I was like, I don't know if I feel like I deserve like a cut of his win or what it is, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just like create a fake invoice. He's a rookie, I guess, now officially, so maybe I'll just create a little fake invoice and put it in his locker, as long as you guys don't ruin it for me.
Does it make you feel old at all that younger players are now emulating you?
I don't know. Is he like? I don't think he's really emulating me, is he? I don't know if it's.
He said it was half and half.
Half and half. I'll take that. Okay. I would prefer to look at it as more of an honor than old, but I appreciate you bringing that up. That yes, I am starting to become one of those guys. Thank you.
All right, we'll leave it off with the Fergie has one final question.
Outside of winning, which is obvious, what's your objective for the next couple weeks? What do you need to do? What would you like to see happen for you? Forget the winning part too, because that's kind of obvious.
What's that? I think like in terms of in my golf, or yeah, for me it's. I mean, these are 3 weeks. You need to putt well. You obviously winning and being a part of or to do that, you need to make some putts. You need to make those putts, whether it's to gain momentum or maintain momentum. But I've played the course next week once for the Palmer Cup. I don't remember it great, but I remember it some. But I do know this week, and I do know East Lake, and you got to drive the ball well. So I feel like for me, if I can have 3 weeks of driving the ball well, and a really hot putter would be great. But even just kind of how I was putting, through that April, May time, I was really feel like putting well, and I just think if I can get those two things going pretty solidly, then we should have a really good chance.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Good luck this week.
You look confused. Thank you.